Yeah, okay, so that was kind of bad emulation of shifting, but that's what we're talking about today, is shifters. Let's get on topic. Hey everybody, it's Thomas with Get Out Arizona, and you're watching another episode of Toolbox Topic. This segment was shot in 3B. 3 beers and it looks good, eh? Anyways, I'm here with my co-host Brandon Van Leuven. Brandon, how the hell are you?
Real good.
Awesome. We're at Trek Bicycle West Phoenix in Goodyear, Arizona. Ha! I did it. And I'm actually drunk and I pulled it off. No, I'm joking. Once again, and today is part 2 of our Drivetrain maintenance series. And we're going to talk about shifters. Brandon, you got some shifters here. You've got a shifter for a road bike and you got a shifter for a mountain bike. Both mechanical shifters.
These are mechanical.
We're going to move into the wireless E-tap after we talk about this. What are some things that people should know about today's, or I should say the modern day shifter for a road bike or a mountain bike? Let's start with that.
Today's shifters are pretty good.
Okay.
To put it like
wow, yeah. It's like electricity.
They are, as they get more sophisticated though, they do kind of get a little more fragile.
Okay.
Once again, we talked in our last episode about those shifters that we had to take our hand off the bar and go with those little suicide shifters on our down tube.
Right.
Those things were absolutely bomb-proof. They never broke.
Right.
They were so strong and so reliable. These guys now, they're so sophisticated on the inside. So many small little moving parts in there that they, as I said before, have become a bit fragile.
So what you're saying, it's like a high maintenance woman or a high maintenance man.
I'm not saying that.
That's what he's saying, folks. No, joking. I'm really not, though. There's some fucking guys out there that are kidding me. No, I digress. Anyways, continue. So.
But because of these little small moving parts in there, really what we've seen in the shop is the worst thing you can do for a shifter is not shift it. Especially in Arizona, it's
Makes
dry,
sense.
it's
Okay.
hot, and to be quite honest, the lubrication or the grease that they use in here isn't super good out of the factory.
Okay.
So Arizona, it'll tend to crystallize and it'll tend to corrode inside there, and it'll leave you with the pawls not operating correctly inside. And so what we'll get, instead of getting this click in here, this nice clicks that we get,
right.
Nothing will happen, nothing will engage. So a lot of times what we can do is go in there, flush it out. Well, these guys we don't go into very much. They're so complicated inside. Right. There's only a few of them that you can rebuild.
How many moving parts do you know off the top of your head? How many moving parts do the STI shifters, the integrated shifters like this have?
It at least comes apart into 3 or 4 pieces that I can see, but contained inside those are more springs and pawls. Okay. And
so it's a pain in the ass.
We don't mess with these.
Warning. Yeah, okay.
We don't mess with these. Camping Nolo, surprisingly, are easier to rebuild. They have the kits ready to go, and you can rebuild those with a little bit of practice. Those can be done.
Nice, good
Shimano,
to know.
we don't mess with those.
Don't mess with them. Now, what about the SRAM shifters? Now, SRAM it's very similar to the STI shifting. I actually have it on my 920. How does the maintenance or the rebuildability, and that's not a word, I just made that up, by the way.
I made up words last time.
Yeah. How does it compare to the Shimano shifters?
I would say comparable in sophistication and complicated.
Okay.
Maintenance on them, rebuilding is very tough to do.
So almost similar to some other parts. I don't want to refer to it as a throwaway part because they can be rather expensive, but I mean, when they go out and they're done, they're pretty much done.
Yeah.
Okay. Which sucks because these shifters, I mean, they're not cheap.
They are not cheap, absolutely. But going back to not using them and these things not working, a lot of times what we can do is, find the sweet spot where we can get into these internals a little bit, spray them out with some degreaser, spray them with some lubrication. Hopefully they come back. I would say probably 19 out of 20 times they come back. But that one guy that comes in and hasn't ridden his bike in 2 years, has been sitting in the hot garage, and if those pawls don't come back, it's a lot of times, let's buy some new shifters.
Let that be a lesson to you. Stop watching Netflix, God
ride your bike.
Ride your bike, okay? Save yourself some money and ride your bike.
So on the mountainside, the same thing can happen. They're still fairly complicated inside, but not like the road shifters.
Okay.
But a lot of times we can get into those things and kind of manipulate the pawls inside.
Right.
Get them moving, get them going. And those are a little bit easier to bring back to life than the road shifters. But
now,
just exercising them does a world of good for their overall longevity.
Now, it seems like the mountain bike shifters are easier to adjust because cables do stretch, housing does get worn, and this is a piece of housing, by the way. And these are definitely factors in how your shifter will function if it starts to misfire or double shift and everything. The adjustability on the mountain bike shifter seems relatively simple. These not so much.
I would say we can do a little bit of adjusting on the barrel on the mountain shifter. These guys don't have a barrel on the mechanical ones, but typically there's a barrel somewhere else on the bike that we can adjust the cable tension. What's more important is the way we maintain the actual cable and housings themselves. And that a lot of times is just keeping the thing clean. Conditions are really what compromise the effectiveness of how well these things work. If you think about especially super full-length housing, you have a lot of friction in these lines. So dirt, grit, grime gets inside there, it causes more friction, and then it compromises how well this shifter works. While we're looking at the mountain shifter, what we see a lot is we have a plastic ferrule that sits inside here, and a lot of times just not being careful and how we pick up our bikes.
Rotate that so everybody could see. So he's referring to a plastic ferrule that actually comes upright in here.
We see a lot of times just by people maybe bringing it in and out of their car, putting it on their stands. These little ferrules tend to break.
Okay.
Because they are just plastic, and when they do break, the cable starts coming apart. Shifting sucks after that.
Shifting sucks after that.
Yep.
And remember, guys, we've brought this up in other episodes. Some of the problems that we experience here in Arizona, or let's just say the Southwest area in general, because of the dry, desert, arid conditions, you might not experience in your region. Some of the things that we're going to continue to talk about in other episodes, we would ask that you consult your local bike shop, your local bike mechanic on some suggestions to increase longevity. Because what we need to do here in the desert is significantly what you would have to do, or different than what you'd have to do, say, Maine, upstate New York.
Oh, we're special here.
Yeah, we are a special group here, guys, let me tell you. Washington, the Pacific Northwest, areas like that. So just keep that in mind. We're speaking in fairly general terms, or in terms that apply to the Southwest desert area. So awesome. So is there anything else that people should know or understand about shifters? And as far as the drivetrain, I wouldn't say it's the most complex area. We'll be getting to that in a couple other episodes with like the rear cassette and the rear derailleur. But it's still, I mean, if your bike ain't shifting, you really ain't going anywhere. And Lord forbid you're stuck in your lowest gear and you still have a climb to make.
That's right. Go take good care of them. Don't crash them. First of all, use them, don't crash them, and periodically, maybe once a year or once every other year, let's replace cables and housings just to keep those working in good shape.
Depending on how much riding you're doing,
Or if you're really good,
just get an E-tab, okay?
You don't have any cables or housings.
Yeah, just go with that. That's the route I'm going to. All right, well, cool. Well, guys, hold on a second. We're not quite done. We're actually going to move on over to a bike we have on the bike rack that has the SRAM Eagle Access. And it's a road bike. Mountain bike's the same, same philosophy and principle on the SRAM Access system. So we're going to kind of take a look at the shifters over there, talk to those a little bit and everything like that. So,
someday these will be gone. These will be a figment of our imaginations or our past.
And I should note, too, before we take a look at the SRAM stuff, SRAM isn't necessarily the pioneering company, but they were one of the first companies that said that they're all in. And now, as they move forward, they're no longer going to be producing, if I understand correctly, no longer going to be producing mechanical sets, but they are going to continue to support their mechanical group sets. They are going to push access and wireless shifting, dropper post, everything forward to levels that we can only dream of at this point. So hopefully in the next couple, 2-3 years, that's going to be really exciting. I'm all for that. Anything that makes it more efficient for the rider, I'm definitely a proponent of. So, all right, let's go over here and talk about the SRAM shifters. Come on, Brandon.
All right, I'm coming.
All right, guys, so fortunately for you, you don't have to see my face. Brandon, again, he's the talent. He's the good-looking one of the bunch. So you'll just have to, ooh, look at the ugly finger. Arr, that's Thomas. No, I'm joking. Why anybody sticks around for this stuff, I have no idea. So as you can see with the SRAM shifting, and granted the cables would be concealed here, but there's no cables on this. This is what they refer to as their access shifting system. It's completely wireless, and you can program these shifters based on your cassette and your shifting style.
Do all kinds of fun stuff, customization.
Whether tap is going up or down, up or down, just it's really amazing. But again, with that technology,
comes a price tag.
Price tag, not only a monetary price tag, but you got to realize this is an electronic device, and as waterproof and as robust as it is, it's going to be fragile. You know, taking spills and everything like that to some degree would be more impactful on a wireless shifter than it would on a mechanical shifter. Now, SRAM has done a great job. I'm currently right now using the Access for my dropper post, and I absolutely love it. It has yet to cause me any heartache or pain or discomfort as far as usability goes, and I'm really excited to get the Access shifting for my mountain bike. The people who I've spoken to directly for the wireless shifting with the Access absolutely love this. You know, they just rave about it. You know, you would think they discovered toilet paper for the first time. They rave about it so much. Now, how many riders, I know you have some of the guys that work here, you know, run this. How many riders that are customers are running a wireless group, and what's their feedback as far as the shifting goes and issues?
What we've seen, especially in our customized bikes, people are going with a wireless system.
Okay.
It makes our job a lot easier. If you're converting a bike from a mechanical system to a wireless, it actually takes longer for us to take all the mechanical stuff off than to set up the electronic stuff.
Yeah, because there's no cables to run.
From a mechanic standpoint, it's awesome.
Okay.
It's really good.
Okay.
The only drawback to this wireless system is now we have 4 batteries to deal with.
Right.
Which,
or in a mountain bike case too.
Yeah,
it depends.
Yep. Right.
Well, and the batteries and the shifters, and they use the little coin-sized batteries.
Yep.
So
exactly. So a little more upkeep on the maintenance side, and we have seen that the shifter batteries tend to go a little bit quicker than the rechargeable derailleur batteries, but not a big deal. Small price to pay. It's a good first world problem to have.
Yeah.
Whereas the Di2 by Shimano will have one big battery that controls the entire system.
Right.
And we have a little junction box that gives us the status. But I believe you can find the status of your batteries on the app as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so SRAM actually has their Access app, and everything that you have connected on your bike within that app, it gives you status. Actually tells you, you know, if you need to maintenance it, if anything's going wrong, if it's not communicating, your battery levels and everything. So again, I've only used it with the dropper post, but it works really well, and it's very intuitive. So I really like that about the app. They did a good job.
This is the future here, man.
Yeah.
Wireless electronic, someday it would all be this.
The future of rock and roll. You can't see the goofy face I'm making, but I'll put up my finger. Hey, how's it going? All right, so this is what the SRAM Access shifters look like. The Shimano D-Tap's going to be similar, but they do have that master, that brain and that housing. And at some point, we will actually discuss the differences in depth between the D-Tap with Shimano and the SRAM Access, pros and cons of both of those, but that'll be further down the road. But yeah, wanted to give you a look. These are sleek, these are elegant. And they work super well. I'm actually excited about getting them on my mountain bike. And when I do, you guys will definitely know about it. Hey, Thomas, we're gonna go wireless. Okay, no. All right, guys. So let's mosey on back, and we'll talk about the conclusion and what's coming up. All right, guys. So there you have it. Those were the SRAM shifters and everything. And you can see they look identical, except there's no cable housing. There's nothing to run. It's just that brain that operates on a Bluetooth system. And I tell you what, man, it's definitely hot stuff. So, Brandon, this is great. This is, you know, again, a nice overview, and as far as the maintenance and everything like that. And you can see the maintenance with the shifters, really, there's not a whole lot to do. And as far as the different components of the drivetrain, I would say this is probably the least of your worries as far as preventative maintenance and stuff.
I would say that as well.
Yeah, Brandon would agree. And even if he didn't, screw him, what is he? He's the pretty face of this outfit. So, no, I joke. But anyways, so now, coming up in part 3 of our drivetrain maintenance series, we are going to be moving on to the front derailleur for bikes that have a front derailleur, and the bottom bracket and that front charring and everything like that. So that's going to be the central part of the bike. You definitely won't want to miss that.
We have more to talk about with that stuff for sure.
Yeah,
there's a lot more involved.
Yeah, be more shenanigans and everything like that. And I'm glad you guys can stomach these things, because I don't know. I don't know how you do it, but we're appreciative of that fact. No, I'm joking, but seriously, we thank you for your support. So Brandon, that's it. Wrapped it up for today. Guys, can't thank you enough for tuning in for another episode. The next episode, again, front derailleur and everything, that's part 3, and then we'll conclude with the rear derailleur and the rear cassette and what you need to know about all that good stuff. And the chain, yes, the chain goes along with that. Can't forget the chain, because it doesn't matter how well everything else is working, without that chain.
No chainless bikes yet.
Yeah, you ain't going there. Now, by that, I mean, would you almost want to say the chain might be the most important part of the drivetrain system?
Yes.
Go on record by saying that?
I'll do that.
Oh man, you heard it first. Now, if you disagree, it's all him. No, I'm joking, guys. So anyways, if you thought this was entertaining, if you thought you got some type of value out of it, maybe educational, at this point, I would be hard-pressed to even say that word for these videos, but hit the like button, and if you want to see more of these fascinating videos, along with our trail videos and other great stuff, hit the subscribe button, as well as the little ding-a-ling-a-ling bell, so you'll get a notification when those go live. All right, guys, as always, there's going to be links down below. We're going to have a link to the bike shop, so if you have any questions for Brandon or any of the guys that work here at Trek Bicycles West Phoenix, follow that link, give them a call. They'll be happy to help you out. There'll also be links to Shimano and SRAM, like we had in the last episode. So at least you can go to those websites. You can check out their different groups, the differences within those groups, and also kind of preview the DTAP and the SRAM Access, and see maybe if that's something you'd be interested in upgrading to. Guys, as always, we thank you for your support. We couldn't do this without you. Remember to be kind to yourself and others. Always be great stewards on the trail. We've got to ask, what are you waiting for? Get out, Arizona. Brandon, thank you so much for joining us again.
You're welcome.
I really appreciate it. You guys have a fantastic week, and we'll see you on the next adventure.